Hello traders, this is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com on April 22nd, 2017. In this edition of your weekend video newsletter, we'll cover the indices, which are mostly bullish, near the 50-period moving average or above. In the case of the NASDAQ, it never dipped below the 50-period moving average. IWM had the best week, and we had the FTSE 100 and the Hang Seng a bit lower last week, with the Nikkei higher. Sectors that look pretty decent: XLU led, XLP, staples, gold, aerospace, and trucking. And we still have HYG and junk bullish, whereas crude was pretty bearish last week. Tick and TickQ are mostly bullish. NYMO, Breath is mostly bullish. NYHL is full-on bullish. The high-low percent index for the New York Stock Exchange Composite made an abrupt change at moving higher again. And we have the NYAD Advanced Decline bullish divergence with price. CPC is mostly bullish. VIX still lingering, showing that there's still fear. There should be some mean reversion shortly, as we are way above the 50-period moving average, which we'll talk about with VIX VXV, which is flagging in its descent. Currencies, we have the US dollar below its 50-period moving average and in a descending wedge. Yen is bullish. It's above its 9 and 20 EMA, and the pound had a nice pop last week. Bonds, we have yields bouncing. TLT is fading. Could be also producing a flag, so we'll watch that. The big picture, however, the 10-year bond to SPX, or the bond stock ratio, and the HYG, J, and K moves are more bullish than bearish at the current time. Crude, as we spoke previously, had its worst down week in 7 weeks, down 6.69%. We need to see that turn back up to get bullish on the markets. Copper is lower in a range that we've seen on the weekly, and gold is bullish, and that could continue if there's more fear coming out of the geopolitics and the French elections and stuff. So keep an eye on gold. Sector-wise, we have XLP, XLY moving lower, so that's bullish. And the heat map is trending to yellow. We haven't got full-on green yet. There's some strength in real estate, biotech, and financials that we should be concerned about and trade those accordingly. And the industrials and transports are mixed. We want to see those continue to move higher. That's Dow theory, as you know. Macro trends, the S&P 500 is year-to-date up 4.90%. It's only 2% off of the all-time highs. And one more time, junk and HYG bonds are more bullish than bearish, as debt and small caps are giving us mixed signals. International markets, the heat map mostly trending to orange and red, with Turkey continuing to outperform, followed by the European group with Spain, Italy, France, Germany, Switzerland, and the Netherlands all moving in a bullish direction. The IBD 50, we'll look at these names. There are only 10 names on the list that are set up in such a way that I'd be interested in taking more bullish trades, and that could change very rapidly as many stocks are setting up bases to propel them higher. We do have Lowe's, a new position. Mikey has Home Depot in the trend following channel. I'm looking for those two to continue to move higher as XLY starts to outperform again. That's at all-time highs. The consumer discretionary sector, so watch all of the names in that group. We'll look at some income trades. Anything that we take, we're trying to take weekly covered calls. So if you're trading a new position, check to see if they have weekly calls available. That way you're in the market and out very quickly. Yukarowitz talking about short-term extremes in sentiment, breadth, and volatility, suggesting a rebound in equities is ahead. That was from last week. However, it still holds true today. Bulkowski showing his signals, 3 of 5 are red, and his CPI signal is half green since 4/17/17. As you know, that was red last week. Let's start off with the spiders and take a look at the possibilities. For the most part, we're still in a pattern of sideways action, if you will. Lower highs, higher lows, stuck right near the 50-period moving average. As we can see, we closed just below the green line, the 50-period. However, we're trying to get back above the 9 and the 20. So in reality right now, no one has an advantage, and many traders are getting chopped up. RSI is trying to trend through 50 and move higher. That would be bullish. If it drops back down, that would be bearish. Overall, price action is trying to get above volume by price resistance. You can see this is where most of the trading is occurring. And if you're a short-term trader, you know you're having much more difficulty with your trades making money if you're trading the indices. Stochastic is, however, putting in a higher low and turning higher, which is giving us a bullish direction short term. And we had increasing volume to the downside above average on Friday. Thursday looked pretty good. Thought we would see a follow through, but with the sideways triangle pattern, it's hard to make a bullish or bearish trade work for you over a swing time period. That said, tick cumulative is climbing. That's showing they're buying more stocks on the uptick than they are selling on the downtick on a cumulative and rolling daily basis. MACD is trying to turn, putting in higher lows. Noting histogram is fading in the bullish direction. So overall, this chart is more bullish than bearish, but still not giving us a complete signal for a bullish swing trade into next week. If we reflect on the 60-minute time frame, we see the same pattern with higher lows and lower highs. Price action moving sideways after pushing higher early in the morning for 2 days straight, and then fading on Friday. We need to get above this volume by price band and attack this upper trend line, which would put us above the 9 and 20 and above the 50-period moving average. We can see stochastics is moving sideways. We need that to move up. Stochastics is already turning and moving higher. MACD does have that bullish trend that we reflected on the daily histogram, and tick cumulative, for the most part, is making higher lows and higher highs. So that needs to continue if you're bullish. You want this to break down if you're bearish. Here is the NASDAQ 100 with A-Rune indicator enabled. We have A-Rune up, moving lower as well. So that's showing you that no one really has an edge as this continues to move lower. However, it does have more of a bullish setup than bearish at this time as A-Rune down continues to move lower. We really need to see A-Rune up, pop to the upside. That would happen if price action continues this upward path. The sector heat map reflects more transitioning to the yellows at this present time, fewer on the red, and an occasional green, with most of the sectors that are showing strength: real estate, REITs, biotechs, and financials, with industrials and transports mixed. So we'll be focusing on some of those this week. And remember, if the NASDAQ continues to outperform, we'll be looking at the tech sector as a leader as well. Looking at international markets, for the most part, we've seen Spain, Italy, France, Germany, Switzerland, and the Netherlands outperforming, with Turkey leading altogether. So if you're trading those international markets, watch for these, pause the video, and look to see which ones have outperformed and focus on those sectors and countries. Here is the new IBD 50 list. Alberto put together the CSV file for the FinViz version of this information. So check out my alerts channel. There is a link that has this set up with all the charts. It's a nice convenient way to look at the IBD 50 in a quick glance format, just looking at the charts. That said, we only have 10 stocks that we're very interested in, and that's due to the setups and all of the indicators, RSI rising perhaps, MACD turning, stochastics outperforming, and price action in a bullish pattern, along with price above the 9 and 20 EMA for starters. So let's take a look at some of those names. Finally, there are a lot of stocks on the IBD 50 that I didn't cover, only because they don't have a few items that maybe have me looking elsewhere. For example, Ellie was on the watch list last week. This one has already given us a nice return, 4 points. It's producing a shooting star and has done this in the past at the upper Bollinger Band, in which case we've seen a fade after that point. So just be aware of previous price action and what might occur. Lower Bollinger Bands turning up. SOTMA is very bullish. If this comes down to the 9 EMA and we see buyers step in using the trade of the day 5-minute setup, you know what to look for, then I would consider buying this one. Don't buy it at the highs. Wait for a pullback in this otherwise bullish continuation pattern. Okay, so most of the stocks that popped last week, semiconductors in particular, like Applied Materials, perhaps that comes back a little bit before you take an entry. All right, that's going to do it for me for the weekend. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you from theclosingprint.com with your weekend video newsletter. Look for the watch list to come out shortly, as that's been prepared and will be waiting for you in your inbox shortly. We'll also look at some setups, charts prior to the opening bell. Hopefully I'll be ready for you at 9 a.m. first thing. Mondays are usually a hard day to start. However, look for those charts and setups for positioning this week. Remember, a lot of these things are contentious upon the French elections and how futures open tonight. So keep an eye on futures. We will see you shortly. Take care. Hope this helps. We'll see you in the room forthwith.